You're stuck with a particular problem. John Wesley gives two examples. Should you marry? Should you start a new business? What to do? What's God's will for you? Lots of Christians ask these kinds of questions. Wesley suggests that instead of asking about God's will, you do these two things. You have to improve yourself. Maybe you will then know what to do. And then be useful to others. So after improving yourself and being more useful to others, then what? Suppose you still can't make up your mind to get married or start a business. You can decide to cast lots, or as it were, decide on the roll of the die. Wesley did do this on a few occasions. He also pricked the Bible. Pricking means opening a page at random, then pointing for a verse at random. Methodists in Edwardian Australia use the term pricking for a verse, but I haven't been able to find a reference back to Wesley's England. But what a great idea. All the while, you have to believe with all your heart, soul, mind and strength that the Spirit of God is guiding you to the verse, or guiding the roll of the die. Now, before you throw your hands up in horror and roll your eyes heavenward, stop, pause, begin to think, begin to reason. Ask, what is going on here? Am I missing something? Quite possibly. So let's explore it. First of all, in the ancient world, it was not only Christians who pricked the Bible. The Greeks and the Romans did it with their favourite philosophers and poets. The practice is known as bibliomancy. You can apply it to any book. What it means is working out the divine voice for you, or if you like, the word for you, achieved for Christians by being guided by the Spirit of God. That is, attending to the entheos, one's enthusiasm, God within. Listening to inner divinity. But even though this still remains a common enough practice, is it valid? Or is it silly superstition? Wesley himself grew suspicious of the method in later life. This was because he saw it misapplied and misunderstood. In my opinion, however, the younger Wesley was very much on the right track. Why? To answer that, let's look at bibliomancy today. Yes, it's still done, and it's very sophisticated, applied not to the Bible, but in extraordinary places of learning. So let's set the scene and see how. Enter, stage left, a Fortune 500 corporate executive, and stage right, a couple of wise men, and stage centre, Wesley faces his critics. What does the contemporary entrepreneur have to say to Wesley? Here's how the world's biggest companies use a form of bibliomancy. Edward de Bono, the inventor of lateral thinking, advisor to multinationals and governments on how to think, said, try this. Brainstorm. Brainstorm around randomly generated words or concepts and randomly put two words together. At this stage, don't analyse, don't comment, just generate strange random words and ideas. Do that for 15 minutes, no matter how odd it seems. Every time I've tried to use the method in a church context, within a short time people start commenting, analysing. They find it difficult to stay with the process long enough, and that gets us nowhere fast. Highly frustrating indeed. So here's how it really does work if you do it right. Let's consider one of the great all-time lateral thinking provocations. Sometimes provocations get abbreviated to PO. That's what de Bono called them, POs. POs were random provocative statements. Pricks and POs, not your average Methodist insights. The classic PO is about square wheels. Make a car with square wheels. Imagine putting that to a church leaders meeting. Well, what a stupid concept, you might very well think. A car with square wheels? These guys must be nuts. But don't comment, don't say nuts out loud. Stick with the creative process for a little while. Don't shudder at the apparent waste of time. Enjoy it. Once you have the PO, then you can begin to analyse. But don't be negative about arriving at it. We all have to start somewhere. Don't say a car can't have square wheels. Instead ask, how would a car with square wheels actually work? That's exactly the same concept as when Mr. Wesley pricked verses. Here's the provocation. I pricked the page at random. I pricked the verse at random, and I inquired into what it might mean for me. What was the Spirit saying through and in this random act? To return to the automotive industry and finish that story. De Bono says that the meeting did discuss how a car with square wheels might work. What would make it possible? It works by somehow lifting up one wheel at a time. The one wheel lifts independently of the rest. Eureka! From that PO, the spirit of creativity burst forth. The concept of independent suspension was born, and cars became much safer and more stable. The car with square wheels gave rise to a new form of motoring, a meaningless, randomly generated contradiction, but it made something else which was highly useful, just like pricking the Bible for a verse. Identical process. John Wesley and the contemporary entrepreneur speak the same language, as it were. Enter stage right. Two wise men. One is Carl Jung, the other Viktor Frankl. Jung understands Wesley's position only too well. Jung doesn't cast lots but uses the I Ching. That's an ancient Chinese way of divination. You can throw sticks, usually 50 sticks of the arrow plant, or coins. The meaning of a problem is attached to the random fall of the sticks or coins. It's all chance up to this point. You use the symbols of I Ching to create the meaning out of the randomness. At this point, Viktor Frankl illustrates how meaning can attach to a random event, powerful meaning. So on the eve of World War II, Frankl had to make a decision about whether to flee to the US or face almost certain death in the concentration camps. His brother and sister had left Vienna and settled in safety. He remained to look after his parents, but they wanted him to flee too. He had applied for a visa and finally it came through. He'd longed for an escape route. Now he had it, and his parents were overjoyed. They wanted him to go, but Frankl couldn't make up his mind. Like Wesley, he wasn't dealing with trivia. For Frankl, it could mean life or death. Let me quote Frankl. I could not decide anything. The situation seemed unsolvable. What was my responsibility? To care for my life work, or to care for my parents? In such a circumstance, one wishes for a hint from heaven. Unquote. He went home and found his father holding a piece of stone. It was rubble, picked up at random from a destroyed synagogue. The stone had a Hebrew letter engraved on it. His father said, quote, Victor, I know what part of the 10 Commandments this stone belongs to. This letter is a part of the abbreviation for only one of the commandments. Honour thy father and thy mother, and you will stay in the land. Unquote. The destruction of a building, a piece of stone picked at random, a Hebrew letter just part of an abbreviation. Yes, Mr. Wesley would have understood why Frankl stayed. and why Frankl could attach the meaning of his own life's work to that event, and his very life itself to what seemed a mere chance, a stone picked up at random. Join me in the final in the series on enthusiasm. We will look at how all this sheds more light on that thorny problem of free will versus predestinations. Are there strange attractors embedded in the future? Join me and let's explore what happens next. Thanks for watching.